And now we're traveling all the way to Siliguri, India, where we're meeting with Avirup, who is a also part of the Intel Innovators program like me. So that's why we get to chat. But we're going to talk to him about all his cool projects. So thanks for joining us today.
Yes, Gregory.
Cool.
Uh, Talking about my projects, I am currently working on an elephant tracker, which I have published in an international journal. So, what's basically this elephant tracker? We have tried to involve robotics and like a bit of image processing in a single platform. Where I stay right now, there are lots of deaths of elephants caused by speeding railway. Yeah, the elephants die brutally by the trains because the lines are not guarded, and when the elephants cross, the engines just run over them. There isn't any second option for them to survive. So what we have worked here is that I had a talk with my friend, and he also mentioned that to make a bot that will be moving around the railway tracks in the forest areas and at the same time track down the elephants. Now, if a signature is found of an elephant, then we'll like send a signal to the forest authorities or to the trains at a particular radius, such that the drivers who are driving the train can get alert and ultimately slow down the train. In this way, a lot of elephants' life can be saved.
Cool.
This is my, yeah,
No, I was going to say something. Obviously, from the
hmm,
elephant standpoint, there aren't too many of them, so
yeah,
we want to keep them healthy. No doubt
yeah.
about that. But also, I can only imagine from the kind of damage those things can do if they run into a train, because we're those things are pretty massive.
Mhm.
Talking the elephant, not the train. So,
Yeah. Actually, by the current status, there were around 53 deaths of elephants
wow,
in almost 3 years,
that's
and
a lot.
all happened in the same region.
Okay.
And most of the deaths were around best in the evening time, like the elephants go to drink water and all those stuffs, and at that particular time, these trains just smash them and go over. Yes, it's like a brutal thing, but nothing can be done in this extent, as it's a very tight schedule. The trains also have to arrive in time, and at the same time they simply don't get warned about these elephants because the area where the elephants can be found is pretty much massive. So if a train has to go slow, then it will be pretty much off schedule.
Cool. So tell us a bit about what does the robot do? Go and look for the elephants and warn people? How
Yeah,
does it work?
what we have designed right now, I mean, still did that, is that the robots will be controlled by an operator secret some remote location.
Hmm.
They will be moving around the railway tracks and beside the railway tracks as well as a part of the jungle. Each robot will be covering a certain amount of area. Now, in that vicinity of that area, if they detect any elephants, which are detected by some image processing techniques, which I have used, if some detection is found, they will just report it to the operator, and the operator will hereby relay the news to the forest department or to the Indian railway system.
Okay.
This is the way how it works. But talking about like the operator has to control the robot always, it's it's a bit messy.
Yeah.
Like we have planned to make this system autonomous, but talking about autonomous robot navigation, and that also in a forest, and that also in such a place like where there are huge bushes, rocks, railway tracks. Yeah, it's pretty much hard.
Yeah, it's
So we
almost
have
like
got,
taking a
yeah,
robot to Mars, just a different environment.
yeah.
So, is the robot going to be able to do some mapping as well so people will know exactly where things are at? How do you see it working?
Yeah, yes, the robot will be, as I already mentioned, I plan to make this system autonomous,
Hmm.
and therefore I have just set aside this elephant tracker project and have started a new project about this mapping part.
Okay.
Uh, uh, this is where the things get a bit complicated. I'm trying to develop this autonomous robot in which I will just provide the destination coordinate. The robot will be able to move from the initial to destination coordinate, and at the same time provide a map of the environment.
Wow.
This entire process will be autonomous without any human intervention.
Well, that also makes, as you said, a lot of sense because if you need an operator each time to run all the
Yeah,
robots and see, where, in this case, where the elephant, but imagine this can be used in any sort of field, that becomes a lot easier if it can be autonomous and track
yeah.
things. So that's actually really, really cool as a setup. So to do those things, what kind of technology do you use for that?
Talking about the hardware,
Mm-hmm.
till that I have stuck myself to Arduino Leonardo.
Yeah.
If you want, I can show you
Oh yeah.
the board. Yeah, this is the board. This tiny little board.
Cool.
It controls all the majority stuffs. I control this board with just hold on. I have some device ready for you. These two are small devices. Okay,
Yeah.
this thing goes inside my laptop,
Yep.
and this thing is on this Arduino board.
Okay.
And I control my Arduino board with the help of this stick. I
Nice.
have developed an application that will be driving my robot as well as get the image data which I'll be processing. Everything occurs with the help of this tiny stick. This is just a communication protocol. Its frequency is 2.4 gigahertz,
Mm-hmm.
and it follows the UART protocol, Universal Asynchronous Receiver Transmitter. Talking about the other stuffs, like I have used some pretty high powered motors, some high powered batteries. There's a lithium polonium battery,
Yeah.
and our robot, like it has some great power, and it can climb angles up to 75 degrees stick.
Wow.
And it has been tested in like there was a college technical exhibition
Sure.
in which we have like made a platform which was 75-degree, and I thought it won't be able to climb, but then I don't know how it happened, but it was very easy. It
Sure.
just it just climbed it
How
without
fast? How
any.
fast can it go?
The right now the speed is around 25 kilometers per hour.
That's pretty quick for, especially as you said, when you. I'm imagining myself being the operator.
Yeah,
It's almost reminding me of a video game, but live, trying to dodge
yeah.
everything. So that makes
It's like
sense.
a live video game,
Yeah,
controlling the
exactly.
robot in the forest.
So, let's get back a bit when you talk about autonomous and you're going to be in those environments where you may get overheads and
Hmm.
GPS issues. Have you started to think about different ways to address that, or how to make it work in a not so nice and friendly environment?
Yes, right. The testing till date has been limited to indoors,
Yeah.
but certainly things will get complicated when I shift them to outdoors. As because of the fact dust, then interference, noise, these are the, like majority of the stuffs which I am dealing with right now. The greatest enemies are dust, noise,
Yeah.
moisture. So I have to deal with those stuff. So testing is required, and once we're able to master this in an indoor environment, then we'll be shifting to outdoor and see what can be done to
That makes
overcome
sense.
all those difficulties.
And tell me, does the railroad company do they help you at all? Do they help you in your research? Because you're still going to school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So do they help
Uh,
you a bit, or?
yeah, I haven't received that much of a help financially, but yeah, technically and talking about technical assistance, my professors were a lot more supportive, and I have been able to like contact them if I am having any problem with the developer boards with the software that I have made. Yes, they help me always.
Yeah.
But
Well,
talking about the financial help, it's like a very delayed process. They told us to make a prototype model,
sure.
and even making the prototype model is a bit costly.
Yeah, it's very true. At the same time, as you said, whenever they have to slow down the train, or God forbid,
Yeah,
the train runs into something, it becomes a lot more costly than just doing one
yeah,
prototype. So hopefully they can
yeah.
turn that around. What got you interested into those topics going to schools?
Can you repeat the question? There's a
How
problem.
did you get interested in robotics
Yeah.
and studying that field?
When I was in school, that is not in high school, when I was in school, there was a magazine named as Electronics for You.
Mm-hmm.
It's very famous in India. And I remember some articles were released on Japan's robotics competition. I
Yeah.
don't exactly remember the name, but they were like small humanoid robots which used to fight against each other. From there, I said like it's wow, amazing stuffs. And then I like started playing with robotics, starting from class 12, and then finally when I'm in college, I'm always like robotics and all those stuffs.
Wow, that's pretty cool. It all started with some
This advertisements type of
an
stuff in
advertisement
electronics.
somewhere. That's
Yeah.
actually pretty neat. So one thing, we were talking about the elephant, but obviously it can be used to other areas. I think on your website, and by the way, I'll put a link to your website on the board.
Yes.
You also mentioned like military applications and other applications. One thing I wanted to wonder when you do the whole visualization and finding the image, is that an elephant?
Mm.
Do you store that info on the robot itself, or does it go back to a server somewhere?
No, the entire processing part, the image processing and all the storing part are not done on the robot. In fact, what the robot does is just send the signals, and
Okay.
all the signals are processed in my PC. So
Okay.
whatever the storing action or the processing action is done in my PC.
Okay. So pretty
Yeah.
much you could have the robot look for other type of animals or
Yes.
any other things. Is it?
Yes.
Do you need lots of images, or is that a minimum image quality you need on the robot side to be able to get that?
Yes, the most prerequisite is that I need color images because
Okay.
of the fact all of my image processing algorithms that I have used all this with the RGB value because I am detecting elephants based on the size as well as on the color texture of their body. This is a
Okay.
very primitive approach, but at that particular moment, I didn't have much of time to think about any other alternative.
Yeah.
There are lots of other alternatives like like comparing with some predefined images, but that requires a lot of training because we have to prepare the network and then train with some real data and then ultimately test it. So I haven't tried that neural network type of stuff for image processing. Right now, I stuck myself to just compare the images that I get with some textures as a parameter as well as the
Wow.
size as a parameter.
Wow.
I've used those two stuffs.
Okay, well, it does make sense because those things are pretty massive as well. So it's
Yeah,
you can definitely go by size to get them identified. Cool,
yeah.
cool, cool. All right, and in your, I know the two projects are a bit different, but similar related. When
Mm.
you're looking at this autonomous robot that can pretty much go and do the mappings, that can be the same kind of principle where they're going to be sending the data back, and then the software is going to take care of everything.
Yes, it's the same stuff. All my processing are done by my software, and nothing is done on board. In fact, I am trying to make the system on board by using real sense and Intel all-in-one computing stick.
Yeah.
But right now, I don't have access to those hardwares. If I get access, then I will try to make the system on board, and like it will be much of an independent system without any laptop or any human intervention.
Okay,
You know,
so
like
then
independent stuff is much better.
yeah, the robot goes get the data, get back, then you
Yeah,
can get the stick out
yeah.
and go on stuff. Well, that also makes sense in terms of storage and processing.
Hmm.
One thing, since you're totally immersed in robotics and technology, is that do you feel to get wider spread adoption, is it more of a hardware issue or software issue? Like the software has to get better, or the hardware has to get better for people to really start using those kind of projects large scale.
Yeah. Speaking about the hardware and software, it's like software can be developed by us developers. So make it just add more features to our existing software. But if I'm speaking about the hardware, there are lots of difficulties because the power factor, the power it consumes, and then the efficiency it delivers. It's like things get pretty much messy when we are dealing with hardware. I have already burnt up two of my motor drivers while testing, and those were like $700 in Indian rupees in India.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
still, the
yeah, uh, yeah, and I remembered I just plugged in my laptop's adapter to one of the motor drivers because it was written like it can sustain some 3 amperes of current and some amounts of voltage. Then I plugged in my laptop's adapter. Everything was working fine for 5 seconds, and then I saw smoke is coming out from my robot. I don't know what's is wrong, man. And then I just to replace the motor driver with a more high power model, which is this.
Yeah,
It can support like somewhat like 20 amperes of current.
cool.
It's definitely a very high power motor driver. So hardware is the main issue.
Okay. And do you think it's also because from the hardware standpoint, they're trying to make things to be too general, that they're not thinking of actual application and what's required? Or it's going to take hardware and software working together to get it going?
Uh, it has to be hardware and software both should be working together because if you talk about generalization of hardware, then talking about controlling, that is a controlling action of the robot, all those motherboards, all those units such as Intel, Galileo, Edison, Arduino, all these boards are a lot of generalized. We don't need to improve these boards to improve our robotics. What we need to improve are the peripheral devices attached to it.
Okay.
That's a different modules because it's this pretty much thing can do lots of stuff. It can even control a car,
Yeah.
but how can it control a car? We need some peripherals. So what matters are the peripherals, not the controller board.
Okay, so they're
So
they're the ones that are lagging behind a bit right now
yeah,
in terms of usage.
yes,
S-
because frankly speaking, we don't have much access to these devices out here where I am working,
Yeah.
and lots of products that I have been using in my robots have all to be bought online, and there have been times in which I received the products. Majority of the products are faulty. It's like a very delayed process.
Yeah, you need to plan, hope
Yeah,
it works, hope you
yeah.
get the
I
stuff you
hope it
need.
works.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
No, I hear you because even in Europe, when you want to look
Mm.
at specific things, like the other day I was looking for a water sensor. So, nothing
Huh.
out of the ordinary, but
Yeah,
it's by the time you get one that works and that fits well with the environment you have, it can be a bit of a
yeah,
trick. So, totally. So we just need to get people who work on the peripherals
yeah.
to get up to speed to the plain hard to the motherboards and the software. So that's pretty cool. Cool. So how far along are you in the mapping project?
Right now, in the mapping, I have securely mapped some 2D surfaces. I
Cool.
have used ultrasonic sensors to, yeah,
Uh, we're gonna see the sensors.
yeah.
Nice.
This pretty much small sensor. This can detect a distance up to 200 centimeters.
Cool.
Is just a scaled down model. I've tried to map some structures, and all are working pretty much nicely into this domain.
Cool.
Now, if I want to plan to 3D domain, then this sensor isn't of any use. For that, yeah,
So we're back to the
that
peripheral problem.
yeah, and that time I need to shift to image processing rather than relying on visual data. I mean, sorry, rather than relying on sensor data, I need
Yeah.
to rely on visual data.
Okay.
And even if you know about this Google self-driving cars,
Mm-hmm.
they use this laser range finders, right?
Okay.
Yeah, they detect the objects. It scans something around 100 times a second or so 50 times a second. So it's a damn fast process.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely those are very bulky as well, very costly device. So if I ever try it on a real time solution where like there is always a danger, then definitely these laser range finders will be more efficient,
Sure.
and comparing those laser range finders data with the visual image processing data, we'll be getting a perfect result.
Awesome. That sounds like a lot of fun. So are you gonna be showcasing what you're doing, what you've done at some events coming up soon, or are you gonna have more papers coming up?
I am trying to publish one of my paper about this mapping stuff in an IEEE conference, which will be held in Bhubaneswar this December.
Nice. The nice life of being a student and having to publish papers. I'll admit to you that's one part I don't miss. I admire you for doing this. That's pretty cool. Cool, cool, cool. All right. Well, that really covers all the stuff I wanted to cover with you. I think it's really interesting to see that um, something like a robot that's everybody's talking about
Mm.
them, how creative it is to go and help elephants, and then all the cool stuff that
Yeah.
can be done around the field. So I'll be putting your info on the podcast, and people can go on your site and also figure out a bit more what you do, and I'll get a hold of that. Cool. Well, again, thank you very, very much, and I'm sure we'll chat with you again when you have your mapping project underway and in showcase.
Sure.
All right, thanks.
Sure. Okay. Thank you.